BMG Radio. This week, we look at Shane. I'll explain as we go. It's about Shane, but not really about Shane. You'll get it, don't worry. Plus, we look at other things like trailers and Netflixing. And not really Netflixing, but Netflixing. And, top 10s. So let's get to it. Brought to you by the Bearded Movie Guy. Hi, I'm the Bearded Movie Guy, and this week on BMG Radio, I'm looking at Shane. Now, I'll explain that as we go. But let's start off the week. The movie I watched last week, and I've been trying to get to this all week, but it's been busy, and so it came out last week. I got to go see, for my work, American Assassin. So I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be first thing off the top. If you want to know about that, excellent, here you go. If you don't, well then, yeah, you're going to hear about it anyways. But once I'm done that, you can then switch off if you don't want to hear it anymore. That's the new format. So, okay. So American Assassin is a new movie starring Michael Keaton and the guy from Maze Runner. I don't remember his name, and I'm not about to look it up. Because I'm not about to look it up. Anyway, the quick synopsis is this is a guy who was just getting engaged on a beach in Spain, I believe, and his fiancée is killed with a bunch of other people killed by Islamic terrorists. Is best is what I can guess. That's what that makes it look like, at least. And so he then spends he gets shot a couple times and they think he's dead. So he spends a bunch of time training, doing MMA, learning how to use guns, and he basically dedicates his life to killing terrorists. And he wants to hunt down the cell that did this. And, the CIA has been watching him this whole time, and they're like, well, we like what you're doing. Even though you shouldn't be doing this, we like it, and we're going to send you to this special place called the Farm, which is run by Michael Keaton, which is basically where they send people who are, they're not going to be soldiers, they're going to be literal assassins. They're going to be people who just go kill people for the government, and they train them there. Now, that sounds like a cool premise. It works. And for part of this movie, it's really good. So the first 2/3 of this movie are pretty solid. The beginning's really interesting, and then when Michael Keaton finally gets involved, Michael Keaton's great. Michael Keaton is just, I love that guy. So when he's on screen doing his Michael Keaton stuff, he's awesome. And I like his character. He's just a really driven guy that's trying to get this other guy to understand how you should take emotion out of this. This is all about doing the job. You shouldn't be emotional about it. You shouldn't be taking pleasure in it. You shouldn't be seeking revenge. You should just be doing this for the good of the nation, basically. It's like, do this. Don't worry about punishing people. Don't worry about revenge for stuff. In particular, his fiancée dying. So the movie, the first two-thirds are really good. The final act, I'll be honest, it's not bad. But it is silly. And it gets a bit sillier, and then there's just a nuke. I'll just say the word nuke. And, it looks good, pretty much, but it's just, I don't know. As it went along, what I found was, wow, this is getting a little less believable, and a little less entertaining, and a little less intriguing, and by the time I finished it, it was just like, oh, that was very forgettable. And that's all I can say. It was forgettable. It was entertaining for the time I was there for the most part. Like I said, the first 2/3, like the first act, second act, were much more entertaining than the third. But so it's not a bad movie. I give it 3 beards out of 5. But it's just not something you're gonna see a list 10 years from now when you're gonna look back and go, I'm going to see all the movies that came out in 2017. And that'll be on the list, and you'll go, oh yeah, I remember that movie. But you'll think about it I remember that movie. I haven't thought of that movie in 17 years or 10 years or however long, you get the point. When you looked at it, you're not going to, it's not like you're going to forget the movie, but it's not like, man, you have to see this movie. This is the movie of the summer. This is the movie that, this is a sleeper. This is not that movie. This is just, it's a solid, okay movie, but entirely forgettable. And so much so I can't remember the main guy's name. Like, I just don't, and I'm not going to look it up because I just don't care. So yeah, American Assassin. Is it worth seeing in the movie theaters? Probably not. If you're looking for a way to kill 2 hours when it's on Netflix, yeah, it's not a bad time at all. And if you like that guy in particular, you'll probably enjoy this even more. Or if you just want to see Michael Keaton be cool. And yeah, so check out American Assassin. Let me know if you've seen it, because no one ever comments, but I'm looking for comments. So let me know if you've seen the movie, or if you plan on seeing the movie, or if I've swayed you in any way, or if you're like, I'll wait for Netflix. Because that's probably what I would suggest. So yeah. Next up for trailer of the week. Now, trailer of the week, usually I'm only going to do one of these, but I have 3 this week, and let me explain why. Number one is a Netflix trailer, which is different. It's not a movie trailer, it's a Netflix trailer. And I want to talk about it, and it's the reason this thing is called Shane. This episode's called Shane, because it's all about the Punisher. It's the Punisher. And I will put a link to all these trailers in below in the info, so if you want to go check them out, you could pause, go check it out, come back, or wait until the end. There's a Punisher trailer, and boy, does it look good. Netflix, like, I'll be honest, The Defenders was fairly disappointing. There were some cool moments, but overall it was pretty disappointing and forgettable. And but Punisher so far has been one of the best things Netflix has done with his run in the Daredevil show. And so they've given Jon Bernthal the chance to be the Punisher again, and it looks great. Now, the reason I'm calling this Shane is because most of the time, I know his name's Jon Bernthal, but every time I see this guy, all I see is Shane from Walking Dead. If you haven't watched The Walking Dead, you're never going to think of him this way. But, like, every time I see him, every time my wife sees him, it's like, you're like, oh, that guy. And he's a really good actor. Let's just say, Jon Bernthal, really good actor. But every time you're like, what is his name? He's Shane. And it's so much so, he's in Wind River, and my wife couldn't remember what his name was, but she's like, Shane wasn't a dick this time, because he quite often plays characters that are not nice guys. But, so, yeah, Shane. In Punisher, he's not a nice guy, but, because he's the Punisher. He's going to punish. Yeah, Jon Bernthal, man. Shane. That guy, I hope this breaks the Shane. The Shane chain of custody. How about we say that? I hope that this is the thing that takes away the Shane shame. That he's no longer going to be known as Shane. He's going to be, oh, this Punisher. It's like, because that's what I always see him as still, as Shane. Because that's, what he was. And he's been in a lot of movies. Like, he's great in Fury. He's like Sicario. He was great for the small part he had in Wind River. He's great. But we always kind of nail him as Shane. But the trailer, he's great in it. The trailer looks intensely awesome. A lot of violence, not for little kiddies. My daughters are desperate to watch it. And I'm a terrible father, so I'll let them. But, yeah. So check out that trailer. Next trailer, very quickly. I think I talked about this a while back, but I might not have. The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water is a Guillermo del Toro movie that kind of ties into the Hellboy universe. It's not a prequel per se. It's not Abe Sapien. If you don't know who I'm talking about, this is Abe Sapien. He's a comrade of Hellboy who looks a lot like this new guy in this movie, but they're not the same character, even though they're being played by the same actor. But that's because Doug Jones, the guy who's in the suit, is just phenomenal at doing suit work and creature work. But no, this is not actually a prequel per se. It's kind of like in the vein of, it's like an alternate reality. I don't know like what exactly it is, but it's not. Unless Guillermo del Toro's lying, because he flat out, I asked him on Twitter, and I did not get a response, but he's a busy man. But he did put out a thing finally saying, no, this is not a prequel to Hellboy. So, Shape of Water trailer came out a while ago, looks phenomenal. And then they've just released in this last week a Red Band trailer, which I will link here. It's a bit more violent and a bit more, there's some language, I guess. And it's a Red Band trailer. And I'm all for this, man. Guillermo del Toro is among my favorite directors, and this just looks fantastic. And so this isn't the trailer of the week per se, because it's already had a trailer out there. And so this is just further, solidifying how much I want to see this movie, which comes out in December. But So check that out. But the trailer of the week is Isle of Dogs, which I didn't know anything about this. I'll give a shout out to Luke from Razorwire Reviews. I saw that he was doing a reaction to this trailer before I saw the trailer, and I was like, what the heck's he reacting to? It's like, and what Isle of Dogs is a Wes Anderson film with stop motion and like clay animation type stuff about Japan in the future, and they've had a dog epidemic where there's tons of dogs and then they get diseased, so they take them all and throw them on this island made of trash, basically. And the dogs all talk, and they're voiced by Edward Norton and Bill Murray and a bunch of other amazing, like, what's Heisenberg's name, whatever his name is. Oh, jeez, I forgot, but I don't even know him as Heisenberg, but yeah, him. You know who I'm talking about. The guy from Breaking Bad. I don't know why I can't think of his name. I apologize. But anyways, he's voiced in there too. It's a Wes Anderson movie with dogs in Japan when there's this kid who's trying to rescue. Watch the trailer. It made me smile. It made my heart go all glowy and beautiful. And yeah, it's just, if you like Wes Anderson movies, this is in the vein of the Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's that kind of animation. But it just looks fantastic, and it looks just charming. I don't know. I can't think of a better word. Check this movie out. Check this trailer out. And let me know what you think. Again, I dare you to comment. Just dare you. Next, we're going to Netflixing! Netflixing, which I don't have anything for Netflixing. But what I do have is Amazoning? Priming? I don't know. So I'm just going to say Netflixing. I recently, due to circumstances, I'm not paying for it, but I have access to an Amazon Prime account here. And we were looking for a new show to watch, and so we were like, I heard good things about Mr. Robot. And so I haven't finished the first season. There's 2 seasons on Amazon Prime. And there's a third one in either being made or released or being released. I'm not sure. But so I've started watching Mr. Robot, and let me tell you, this is just great. Rami Malek is the lead, and it's got Christian Slater and some other actors and actresses and stuff. But Rami Malek is fantastic in this show. It's a movie show. It's a show. Yeah. But he is great, and it's all about this hacker who works for this company that's supposed to protect computers. And it's not like he messes with the company all day long. It's just he just works there, and while he works there, he also does a lot of vigilante hacking. And then someone hacks their servers and this big evil corporation that they kind of protect, and he finds out that they're actually talking to him and directly wanting him to get involved, and then they contact him and he becomes involved with them, and they're trying to take this big evil corporation down. Now, I haven't finished the first season yet. I'm 7 episodes in, 7 or 8. It is fantastic. It gets a little artsy in parts, and which I'm fine with, but if you haven't watched Mr. Robot, let me know what your thoughts are about watching it, or if you've watched it, well, that makes more sense. If you've watched it, how about you let me know your thoughts? If you haven't watched it, let me know if, I'll link a trailer for season 1, and in below. I'm not going to do it right here, but I'll link that, and then you tell me what you think about it, because it looks, well, it is fantastic, but I haven't finished the season, so it could end badly. There's some weird stuff in there, and there's a guy that's an executive at the Evil Corp place who's very weird, and his wife. I'm not sure what that's about, but overall, fantastic. And that's basically all I got for Netflixing this week. I've been busy. So, Mr. Robot. It's Amazon Prime, but I'm just saying Netflixing. It's branding, people. Who cares? Next up, I'm doing my Letterboxd top 10 list. This week, if you've been following, I've been doing backwards from 2010, so last week was 2009. This week is 2008. Now, if you know what movies came out in 2008 off the top of your head, you know what my number 1 is, but let me get there anyways. You may be surprised at some of my other ones. So, let's go through it. Yeah, there's some really good movies this year. There's, yeah. But, okay, starting number 10. Cloverfield, 2008, Cloverfield came out. I really enjoy Cloverfield. I think it's a phenomenally smart movie for a found footage movie. It does a lot of things right, and it does a few things wrong. But overall, I think it's a really solid film. It's my top 10. It made my top 10. And it's my number 10 for Best Movie of the Year. Number 9, Ponyo. Yep, Ponyo. Miyazaki and Company. It looks beautiful, great, has great voice work in the Japanese and in the American. And just tells a delightful little story about a fishy girl type person. Yeah. Next up, number 8, a David Mamet movie called Red Belt. This was one of my favorite movies that year. Chiwetel Ejiofor, just great. Tim Allen in a serious role is just like, it shocked people, and it shocked me at the time. It's a really good story. It's all about martial arts and overcoming everything. And yeah, Red Belt. It's David Mamet. So it's not. Let me just say, not fast movie, but well acted. It's like got Max Martini, Chiwetel Ejiofor, bunch of other people. It's a David Mamet production and all the way through. And if you know what that means, you probably will like it or not like it if you know what that means and if you like that kind of stuff. If you don't know what that means, David Mamet writes plays and makes films that are very wordy, have a lot of wordplay and not a lot of action, but a lot of awesome characters. So, yeah. Number 7, Hunger. Hunger with Michael Fassbender. It's not an easy or fun movie to watch. I'm going to flat out tell you that. It's all about Bobby Sands, who was an Irish political prisoner, basically. Some would say terrorist. I'm going to say political prisoner. And yeah, he was in jail and went on a hunger strike to try and prove a point. Michael Fassbender plays him, and Michael Fassbender does an amazing transformation here. He loses so much weight, and there is one scene in particular in this movie, which everybody, if you've seen the movie, everyone knows. It's this long discussion between a priest and Michael Fassbender's character, and it's just great. It took them a long time to get, like, they were working on it for days and days and days. They actually moved in together and just kept on working on it all the time while they were filming, and it is just great. The movie itself is hard to watch, and it's a Steve McQueen film, which means Steve McQueen, not the Cooler King from The Great Escape. Steve McQueen, he's passed away. No, Steve McQueen, he's a British filmmaker, and he's very, very comfortable about making you uncomfortable with long shots. So he'll hold on a shot, in a static shot, for minutes of not much happening, and as it goes and as it continues, it will literally start making you angry sometimes and make you very uncomfortable and make you question why he hasn't moved the camera, why he hasn't done something. And he has reasons, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but he is an uncompromising filmmaker. I'll put it that way. And he made an incredible movie. All right, number 6, Ip Man. Oh, if you haven't seen Ip Man, it is fantastic. Like, it's filmed fantastic. It looks beautiful. Cinematography's great. And the stunt fight coordination is just Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen. If you might know Donnie Yen now just because he's a lot more popular now. He was in Rogue One as the guy who's like, I am the Force and the Force is with me. I am the Force and the Force is with me. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen Rogue One. He's the badass guy in Rogue One that beats everyone up with a stick. In Ip Man, he plays Ip Man, who is a guy in China who is the guy who eventually taught Bruce Lee how to fight. And he is just, his hands move so fast sometimes, it's hard to see them. And as far as I understand it, that's not special effects, it's just how fast Donnie Yen is. So it's really well made, really incredible action and fighting choreography. And it's just, it's an incredibly well made movie. So with that, the next one is Red Cliff, which is, if you know, last week I did Red Cliff Part 2. To me, I saw this as one movie, so I didn't know it was 2 parts originally. It's only 2 parts because it's so freaking long, but it's a big, epic Chinese movie directed by John Woo with massive fight choreography, battles, incredible scale, and just acted I don't even know what to say. It's just great. If you ever get the chance to watch Red Cliff as one piece, do it. It's phenomenal. All right, moving on to number 4. One of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies, directed and acted, Gran Torino. Get off my porch. Clint Eastwood, man, he's like, you don't think I have anything left in the tank? Let me show you what I got left in the tank. And boy, did he have something left in the tank. This is a great movie. It's a very interesting look at what an old racist man would be like. And if he starts a little bit of love in his heart kind of grow, especially with neighbors that he doesn't understand, but he tries to understand, and they try to understand him and what he's willing to do. And it's a great movie. I can't tell you how awesome Gran Torino is without just saying it's freaking awesome. And yeah, it's Gran Torino. It's one of his Clint's best films, both directed and acted. Ooh, I just got a text. Never mind. It's from my wife. She says it's very slow at her work. Anyways, moving on. Number 3, one of the best vampire films ever made. Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In is I can't remember what country it's made in. I'm not going to look because I'm lazy. But I immediately saw this movie and immediately said, I have to show this to my wife. And we watched it, and it's insanely awesome. And we immediately both went, oh, crap, this is going to get remade in America. And it was. It's called Let Me In, and I haven't seen it. No, I'm not going to tell you not to see that one. What I'm going to do is if you've seen that one, see the original. And if you haven't seen either, just see the original first at least. This is an uncompromising look at what it would be like to be a young vampire. It kicks Twilight's ass all over the place. It's just a great movie, and it's a vampire movie, and I don't know what else I can tell you. It's just watch this movie. Let the Right One In. I'm not slamming the remake. I've heard it's actually not bad, but if you're gonna watch it, watch the real one. Watch the original. So, yeah. Moving on, number 2. Wow. Yeah, I know. I have a friend who hates this movie, but he hates it for weird reasons that I'm not going to get into. But I think it's a cautionary tale. It's a beautiful love story. It's warning about overpopulation, overindulgence, overeating, and how much one little person could do something about that, or in this case, robot. Wally is just great. The visuals are stunning, and just the story and the character. He is possibly one of the best characters Pixar has ever created. And yeah, the story itself is just so well made on every level, and just Wally. Pixar was on its game back in the 2000s, sorry. They were just so on top of their game back then. And yeah, it's my number 2. Now what's number 1? What could it be? Why so serious? Of course, if you knew that The Dark Knight came out in 2008, then you knew that was going to be number 1 on my list, if you know anything about me. It's Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight with the Joker and Heath Ledger and Christian Bale and Aaron Eckhart and Maggie Gyllenhaal and Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman. Who else am I forgetting? I don't know. Gary Oldman. It's got everybody. This movie is the gold-defining standard of what a comic book movie could be if it was awesome. And people still hate that. I know I've recently talked to someone who's like, yeah, it's so overrated. I totally disagree. I allow everyone to have their opinions because I'm magnanimous that way. But for me, I think this is probably the best comic book movie ever. And hands down, it's the best movie of 2008. And it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. Which is, if you're asking, this is the official year that I gave up on the Oscars. As an adult, I was like, you're not going to even nominate it? And Slumdog Millionaire won. You'll notice Slumdog Millionaire, not my top 10. Not that that's a bad movie. Those 10 are all better. It's that simple. So, yeah, The Dark Knight. There's nothing else to say. That's the number one movie of 2008. If you want to check out the rest of the list, I've watched. Let me give you the quick thing here. Let me go through the thing on Letterboxd. If you go to I will link my list on Letterboxd. Check it out. Check out the list, and if you want to know everything that made the list or is the bottom of the list, and yeah, that's my top 10 for 2008. So up next, Letterboxd. Yeah, this is where I'm going to go through my diary for the week and just tell you what I watched. I haven't watched that much since last week, so this is going to go pretty quick. I watched Murder on the Orient Express. I took this out of my local library, which I will give a plug to any local library that is in your area. You should check it out, because mine, I don't know, maybe yours sucks, but mine rocks hard. It's very good. They have lots of movies, lots of brand new releases on DVD and Blu-ray. And they had Murder on the Orient Express, the old one, from 1974. I showed this to my family in readiness for the new movie that's coming out with Johnny Depp and Kenneth Branagh, which is the remake, which looks really good. I don't like remakes, but it's been a decent amount of time. The other one doesn't get talked about all that much, and it looks like they're actually going to hold to the actual spirit and stuff of the original movie, which I'm really looking forward to. So that's coming out. So we saw Murder on the Orient Express. This is a really well put together movie. I'm sure the new one will be good too. This one I gave 4 Beards out of 5. I think it's just a solid, well made Agatha Christie style movie. Yeah. Next up, American Assassin. I already talked about that, so I gave that 3 Beards out of 5. Except, yeah, again, very forgettable. Next up after that, on the 15th, we watched Predator 2. It was my daughter's choice. My oldest daughter's choice, and that was on the list. So they love Predator, and Predator 2. Yeah, it's not as good as the first one, let's all be honest. But it is pretty solid, actually. It's not a bad movie at all. It's cool that they set it in the city in the middle of a gang war. It's got a great cast. It's got Danny Glover, Gary Busey. Kevin Peter Hall returns as the Predator, which was really cool. Bill Paxton, Adam Baldwin, and Morton Downey Jr. is the loudmouth TV guy. It's like, it really does kind of deserve to be as good as it is. I don't know. I think it's a very solid movie. It's not as good as the original, but it's not to be expected either. So I don't know. Predator 2, I gave 3.5 Beards to. I think it's well made. I am excited for the new Predator movie that they're going to be making. This just whet my appetite for that new Shane Black Predator movie. Yeah, so that should be looking good. All right, next up, we watched a Jeff Dunham comedy special called Relative Disaster, which was he goes to Ireland and brings his puppets along. Very funny. Some of his jokes didn't hit. Some of his jokes hit super hard. And yeah, I like Jeff Dunham. I don't know about you guys. So I don't count comedies or documentaries in my top 10 lists and stuff like that. So, but I did watch it. So I gave it 4 Beards out of 5. It was pretty funny. Lastly, my youngest daughter's choice, Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme from 1988. I loved this movie so hard. When I was a teenager, I loved it. I watched it. I couldn't tell you how many times I've actually watched Bloodsport. It's got to be like 25 or 30 at least. I've watched it a lot of times, maybe more. I don't know, but minimum 25. And showing it to my daughters was like, it's super cheesy, and it's even more cheesy than I remember it being. But it's still a fun time. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, the splits really impressed my daughters. They thought it was fake. At one point they're like, so is it CGI or what? I'm like, no, he's really doing that. And they're just like, wow, that's gotta hurt. It's a fun movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not a terrible fighting movie. It's a tournament style fighting movie. All the stuff with Frank Dukes saying it's true is bull, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a fun movie. So I give it 2.5 Beards out of 5. And that's everything I've been watching. So you're all up to date. Okay, I did get 2 questions, this week. The first question was from Lindsay Pankhurst, who is a friend of mine, and he mentioned how much he liked the movie Mother, which I haven't seen yet, and I'm interested in seeing. But he mentioned that he's a big fan of Darren Aronofsky, and he loves Noah, and he better not hear anyone talk bad about Noah, which then I had to respond, because Noah made my worst movie of the year that year that it came out, and I hate it, and so I put Noah is god awful, pun intended. So his question is, what was about Noah that you don't like or you disliked? Okay, Noah, the way they marketed, part of it might be just marketing, but like, it was very beautiful, don't get me wrong, it looked nice, but the movie made very little sense. It made very little biblical sense. There were rock monsters helping Noah build the ark. Yeah. And like the Bible, I whether you believe in the Bible or not, if you're going to make a story, like there's tons of flood stories other than the Bible Noah story. So there's the Epic of Gilgamesh and all this stuff. If they just want to do a flood story, he should have totally done that. But he's like, I'm doing Noah. So my sister went to Noah thinking, like, my sister's a Christian. She went to Noah thinking it was going to be a Bible story, Noah. And he basically takes the Bible. It's like someone said to him, okay, let me tell you the broad points. There's a guy named Noah who builds an ark because God's going to flood the earth. You fill in the rest. And he went, okay, rock monsters. Noah has one kid and a daughter like that loves his son but can't have children. Like there's all this stuff thrown in there. So like Noah had 3 kids. If you don't know in the Bible, it's real easy to look up. It's in there. And they helped him build the ark. Now again, I'm not even gonna fight you if you're like, I don't believe in the Bible. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. I'm a big guy, and it's like God's a big man. He can carry himself. But if you're going to tell the story, at least give him 3 kids. Like if you want to include rock monsters, which make no sense and aren't hinted at anywhere in the scripture, that's your interpretation, I guess. But at least give him 3 kids. Why didn't he give them? There was so many things that were just like out of place and weird, and I just hated it. It just, any coolness and any beautifulness that like the beauty of the cinematography and the filming. And like Russell Crowe's good, Anthony Hopkins is good, but anything that was good in it just got so overshadowed by all the stupidity in it that I couldn't enjoy any of it. And so yeah, that's why I don't like that. So with that theme, Bryan Lomax, who I made change his system, and he hates it, he asked me the question: who are some of your favorite Christian characters in movies? Now, by Christian characters, I'm assuming he's talking about actual Christian characters, not just people playing things. Like Neo in The Matrix is basically Jesus. But he's not a Christian character per se. He doesn't follow the religion. So some of my favorite Christian characters. Eli from the Book of Eli. I think he's a very solid Christian character. I like ones that aren't so perfect. Let's say the 2 priests or the 3 priests or however many priests you want to talk about from Silence. I really enjoyed that. They look at faith as being something a lot more difficult than a lot of people would admit to, but it's true. And the end of that film still asks a lot of questions. And leaves a lot unanswered and stuff, and it's all up in your interpretation. So yeah, they're definitely, in particular, Andrew Garfield's character from that. I can't remember, Father Rodriguez. But yeah, there's that, and there's other Christian characters that I can't think of right now. There's just pick a military film. There's probably one guy who's like the Bible guy. Most military, not Predator, but it's most military films have that Bible guy. They call him Preach or whatever. Here's my last one I'll take. Although he swears and looks at a magazine of a lady that is partially naked, which Christians do sometimes. I will say LL Cool J's character from Deep Blue Sea. They call him Preach. There you go. And he does this prayer where he swears in it, but it's at the same time they're trying to fight a shark. And he is a Christian. He's a very flawed man, and but he's a Christian. So there you go. There's 3 characters that I like as Christian characters. I don't like it when they portray Christian characters to be stupid or like portray us to be complex, portray us to be sinners. Go ahead, but I hate the stupid, oh gosh golly, Ned Flanders, you know. It's like, and there are those people, don't get me wrong, but, you know, if you're asking what I like, that's what I like. So yeah, those are some of my favorite Christian characters in film. So that's it for BMG Radio this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening in, for doing whatever you do, I don't know. And comment if you can. Just let me know what you'd like me to talk about. If you have any questions for next week, I'm going to put it out on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. If you need to contact me, it's a British Movie Guy at everything you can think of, pretty much. Outlook, Gmail, you know, Twitter. If you just yell my name real loud, I'm sure I'll probably hear it. So, and thank you guys so much. And until next week, stay classy. No, that's not my phrase. That's my phrase. Stay bearded. And as always, your top 7.